Good evening. I would like to welcome everyone for today's training. It's a pleasure to see you joining us in today's training. Apologies for starting late. It's because of my system quite slow, but we appreciate the fact that we are here now. I would like to appreciate every one of you that has been so faithful and committed in participating to this training. It's a 1 month free professional diploma training in peace and conflict management that the Institute of Global Peace is providing to have followers and subscribers on Facebook and YouTube. I also want to especially welcome all of you for today's training. We wish to also congratulate those of you that will be inducted in Port Harcourt tomorrow. We wish you all the best. We're trying to run around to see how um, everything we put to order to make sure that the induction holds. Some of you paying lately for the induction, but we hope that we were able to meet up with some certain things. And we hope that you have a hitch-free induction tomorrow in Port Harcourt. So we wish to congratulate all of you that have applied to be members of the institute. I wish you the very best for your event. And for those of you that applied for Abuja induction, please try and make your payment on time so that we will be able to uh, prepare your or process your document, before uh, you know the event because induction in Abuja is coincided with the convention. So we are going to do it alongside with the convention. So a lot of activities are on ground. So the area you respond, the better. It will help us to prepare for your induction very well. So thank you very much for your time. And then for those of you that wish to also participate to become members of the institute, whether you are in Nigeria or you are outside Nigeria, and for those of you outside Nigeria, we're having online induction in December. And even for those in Nigeria as well, you can apply. Those that say, I don't have time to travel for a physical event because of work schedules, I may not be able to, because of so many engagement, maybe the fear of traveling long distances or the cost of air flight and all of that. So you say, okay, you'll not be able to go for a physical event. Such people will be having opportunity to have an online training induction by December. So if you are ready to join online induction, why not? You can take advantage of it. But for those of you that want to apply for physical induction, Abuja, November 30th, we still have time. You can go ahead and do so. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be here this evening, and we hope that we are going to have a wonderful evening together. So thank God today is Friday. So I know that you are already enjoying your weekend already. Yes, I can see uh, a lot of people are online there. So um, please, if you are going for a weekend outings, just remember to invite me, put me into your plan so that I will join you to go and relax and have fun. All right. So thank you very much. Today we are going to look at international law and conflict. International law and conflict. Please do way to share this meeting with someone. Put it on your wall. Invite them to be part of the training. Even if on YouTube, you can also share. All right. And then also invite others to participate in this training. Share the link with them. Share, put it on your wall. Tell them it's free. They should come and benefit from something like this so that they can make our society better. Like, let them come and gain knowledge. Let them come and learn so that we can together build a peaceful society. Do you understand? So that's what we are doing here, right? So that's it. So now, international law and conflict. International law conflict. Now, the essence of having law in the first place is to regulate human behaviors, because in the absence of law, according to the social contract theories, that is, we talk about all those social contract theories that we're talking about. We talk about John Locke, we talk about which one again? And John Locke and the rest of them. Do you understand? They say life could be what? Solidly brutal, harsh, nasty, and what? Short. Do you understand? So without law in place, men will be worse than animals in the bush. Even with the laws in place, you can imagine how brutal some men, some humans are. You see, a man, I saw one video some time ago where a, a learned person, a legal practitioner, beat his wife, pursued the wife. The wife was running outside with just a pint, and people gathered. You beat your wife, they pursue her, to you injure. She was running naked on the street, and cannot imagine such kind of thing. Do you understand? So, but this is a man, not just an ordinary man, someone who studied law, who should be in the best place to protect the law itself, was abusing the law. You understand? So laws exist to regulate human behaviors. The excesses that will come out of man is being regulated by the provisions of law. Do you understand? So, and we talk about not just, and when we're talking about international law here now, it's not just referring to only the protection of humans only, but also of states. Do you understand? So the law international exists to protect states as well. Do you understand? So as the state interacts, there are chances of abuse. There are chances of misunderstanding. There are chances of war. But the international law is there to protect the occurrence or the negative devastations of war. Do you understand? So this is what international law is. So now, but we want to look at international law and conflict. How international laws, are failing in the midst of war, in the midst of conflict. How well are these laws applied? How well are they being adjudicated in the midst and in the face of conflict? Because we have been hearing of international humanitarian laws that are not being obeyed, human rights violations, all of those issues. But how well are these international laws being applied? And the effectiveness and ineffectiveness of this law altogether. What are the factors responsible for their ineffectibility or its effectiveness? Do you understand? So we are going to consider all of this because we know that, well, perhaps somehow here and there we see these laws apply, but in some places where we also expect them to be applied, they are not applied. So why? What is responsible for this? What are the challenges? Why is the application of this law varies? What are the challenges that make it even difficult to even apply these laws in the first place? Because someone will be asking, so if we have international law that protects states, that protects individuals, why is the war between Ukraine and Russia ongoing? Why is the conflict between Palestine? Though when it comes to this particular conflict, we find it difficult to define it. Is it between Palestine or between Hamas and Hezbollah? I don't understand. So the conflict maybe is between Israel and Hamas and Hezbollah. And so if you term it as between Hamas and Hezbollah, then you may not able to apply. And that's the angle Israel is coming from. Do you understand? So that they are fighting against terrorism, not against civilians. They are fighting against terrorists and not against civilians. But civilians are suffering. Civilians are receiving at the receiving end of whatever is going on. And some of them fall victims of the war. So who do we blame now? Israel or the Hamas? Or the civilians that are suffering? Who should we blame? And who should we apply this law to? Those that have been termed as terrorists, or those that are fighting in the name that they are protecting, or they are defending themselves. You understand? Yeah, some people say these are not terrorist groups, these are freedom fighters. You understand? This is what they call freedom fighters. Say so. All of these things make the application of all these laws difficult. That's why you'll be wishing, as you will primarily and be calling, oh, Israel is committing at war crimes, atrocities, and all of that. But in the face of this law, there are challenges in its applicability. And so these are the things that we're going to look into today. All right. So international laws refers to a set of rules and principles that govern relationship between sovereign states, right, and other international actors. International actors could be individuals, international organizations, NGOs, non-profit, all of them. Do you understand? International actors or international organization or regional organizations. Do you understand? Like the ECOWAS, the African Union, the European Union, the Asian nations, or the Arab leagues. Do you understand? All of those are international actors. Do you understand? So, but we have these laws exist to govern, the relationship between states and other international actors. So it encompasses treaties. So they are in the form of treaties that are being signed. Do you understand? They are in the form of conventions that are being signed. Do you understand? They are in the form of customary law. They are in the form of what? Legal precedents. Do you understand? So this is how these laws are being packaged. And each and every one of them have their own usage and applicability. Do you understand? So, and then of course you're going to apply them where they are applicable. Do you understand? So, when it comes to conflicts, international law plays a crucial role in regulating the conduct of states during war and in maintaining peace. So, what is the maintenance of peace between Russia and Ukraine? And also, what is the conduct? How is this law conducting the engagement that is happening between Russia and Ukraine? So maybe you will help us to answer these questions. How is the law helping to conduct the attitude of Russia and Ukraine in this war? So let's look at key areas of international law that leads to conflict. We have the law of armed conflict. The law of what? Armed conflict. So these particular laws, they also refers to international humanitarian law or the uh, the laws of war. You understand? So anyhow you want to call them, right? So, but uh, they are established uh, to help in to conduct the hostilities and also protect individuals who are not participating in the world conflict. So this particular laws establishes rules for the conduct of hostilities and the protections of individuals who are not participating in the conflict. So, such as civilians and prisoners of war. So, the Geneva Conventions are a cornerstone of this body of law. So, all of those Geneva Conventions, speak a lot on the issue of international humanitarian laws. Do you understand? So, and they exist particularly to um, regulate the volume and the velocity of engagement in terms of hostilities and also to protect individuals who their business is not the war, their business is for survival. You understand? So, how are they being protected? Is what this law is concerned. Then the use of force. Use of force. International law regulates when state can use force against each other. Do you understand? That's why before the Russia and Ukraine war became so intensified, there were, a lot of things that transpired before it got to where it is today. And there were opportunities and chances to stop that war from happening. You understand? But of course, the society failed us. Do you understand? And those that were in a place to talk or do something to stop the war did not do anything about it. So it got to a point whereby they have to use force to deal with some situations. So the use of force, or even the use of force, you have to be very, very careful when to use it. That's why sometimes North Korea will shout and shout, but they will not release anything. Why? Because you'll be inviting the war that you'll not be able to contain. Do you understand? So the UN Charter prohibits the use of force except in cases of self-defense or with the authorization of the United Nations Security Council. So you want to use force, you go and seek their approval. So if they approve, you can go and use it. If they say no, you stop. All right. But the issue here is every state now is claiming self-defense. Israel is talking about self-defense. All right. Iran is talking about self-defense. Russia is talking about self-defense, defending its territory. So the issue of sovereignty is a matter of concern in the face of the international law. And of course, because of these provisions, it means then that many states may claim self-defense when even they are culpable of war crimes. Do you understand? So, and that's what gives the Israel government the audacity to be doing what they're doing, because they know that they are doing it in the name of self-defense. You understand? Because when there was an attack on them, of course, that provoked whatever that is going on. So it's possible to agree with them that yes, you are doing it in self-defense. But the fact is that you have to defend yourself cautiously. You understand? And that's how they have gone out of hand. In their own defense, they have gone out of self-defense, they have gone out of control. But that is how it is. So now let's look at human rights law. Human rights law also so another aspect that exists under the international law. So during conflict, international human rights law should remain applicable. So don't feel that in conflict, then anything can happen. No, the rights of the people is still being protected. And so, of course, you have to respect the rights of the people. You understand? So, human rights abuses, sexual abuses, and so other uh, inhuman treatment, all of those things are being considered as war crimes. Do you understand? So, even in the face of conflict, it doesn't matter the intensification or the intensity of the conflict, it is still there's still a place for the rights of the people and of course the civilians to be protected. Do you understand? So violations of human rights during armed conflict can lead towards accountability under international law, including war crimes and crimes against humanity. I think we have heard of people or government or leaders of government that have been held accountable for their role in certain war. Like let's look at the president of Liberia, former president of Liberia, Charles Taylor. Do you understand? He was held accountable and was also you know, punished for the crimes he committed. All right. So dispute resolution. So international laws provide mechanisms for peaceful resolution of conflicts such as negotiation, mediation, and adjudication in international courts like the International Court of Justice or International Criminal Court. You understand? So we have International Court of Justice, International Criminal Court, where these issues can be adjudicated. And of course, there's provision for alternative dispute resolution, or ADR, you understand, which are mediation, negotiation, and of course, you may have also arbitration. You understand? So we can resolve our differences using any of these mechanisms. Then we talk about states' responsibility. States can be held accountable for breaches of international law. So as I'm talking now, Israel can be held accountable. Russia or anybody or Ukraine can be held accountable for whatever is happening. You understand? So including acts of aggression or violation of treaties. So where treaties have been signed, don't go and violate it. And that is why, that's why sometimes it looks as if the Arab nations, some of the Arab countries are not supporting Palestinians or Lebanese, or they are not with Iran. The reason is that some of these countries are enter into what treaties. They have signed treaties with Israel. And of course, they cannot go against that, because going against the treaties they have signed automatically is going to work against them. So, and if you can remember, the first missiles that were fired at Israel by Iran this year, what happened? Egypt said they participated in intercepting those missiles. Why? Because Egypt is has signed a pact with what Israel. They have signed a peace treaty. You understand? So, and that treaty remains. So if you betray it, it means that you are going contrary to the provisions of international law, and of course you'll be held accountable. So this accountability can lead to reparations or sanctions imposed by other states or international bodies. So you begin to receive sanction here and there, and then begin to suffer economically and socially and otherwise. So you'll be isolated. You understand? So now let's look at international humanitarian laws in more details. Do you understand? Right? So like we say, international human laws, or international human law is also known as the armed conflict or the law of war. All right. And we say it's a set of rules that seek to limit the effect of armed conflict for humanitarian reasons. It aims to protect individuals who are not participating in hostilities and to restrict the means and methods of warfare. Do you understand? So that people will not go and use atomic bombs, biological, chemical bombs, biological bombs. They will not go and use nuclear weapons to go and fight. So you are engaging in war, in war, then there's a limitation on the type of weapon you should use, right? But they're using ballistic missiles, and I think that's what Iran fired at Israel and also Israel responded. And maybe that's what they're using to destroy a lot of things. Do you understand? In Gaza. So the means of warfare is being regulated by law. So it's not just about the regulation of the human behaviors and atrocities or hostilities, but also the means with which you are using to fight the war or to execute the war is also being regulated. Do you understand? So we have core principles of international humanitarian laws. What are the core principles of international humanitarian laws? We have distinction. What does this mean? International humanitarian laws mandate that parties to a conflict distinguish between combatants and civilians. So you must define a clear distinction between the combatants and civilians. Who are the civilians and who are the combatants? And you see, this is where another challenge is. So how can you clearly separate the two when they are fighting in the midst of them? And this has made the war in Gaza so complicated. Why? Because under the Hamas leadership, they built tunnels where they used to hide, underground tunnels under people's houses, under public institutions like schools, health, medical centers, or hospitals. Do you understand? So, and these things are there. So now the question is, how can you separate this now? How can you make a distinction now that you will not have How can you harm the Hamas without harming the civilians? Because these people also use human, they are using their innocent citizens as a protection shield. Do you understand? They run into the people, they go to people where people are, making it difficult to separate them and them. And of course. And then so what do you expect? So anybody that is caught, so be it. Do you understand? So it becomes so difficult to separate them. And that's why you see civilians are dying in Mumbai. Why? Because of the difficulty to separate these people. And then also these people intentionally using the civilians to shield themselves. So it's a difficult situation, but you must make distinction where possible between combatants and war civilians, so that you not come and destroy people who are not participating in war. So attacks may only be directed against military targets, and civilians must be protected from direct attack. So you not just go and open fire on civilian. No, 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 no. It's against the war. And this particular principle during your passenger administration, I think the Nigerian government pay for it. Do you understand? I think from what I heard, the Nigerian government pay up to 5 billion. Do you understand? For that, what they have cost. Do you understand? Because when the Nigerian army just went and gathered people intentionally and started firing them. Do you understand? So all those things. So it's not correct. So propor- proportionality is also another principle. Proportionality. So this principle prohibits attacks that would cause excessive civilian damage in relation to the anticipated military advantage gain. So action must be proportionate to the military objective. So if you want to, carry an attack, you should weigh the attack. You understand? So whatever objective you want to achieve, make sure that civilians are being protected. So, but in what they are dying small, small, but the number is increasing. If you look at what the number of people that have died so far when the war in Gaza broke out, is how much, how many about over 40 something people have died. You understand? So this is how the situation is. They may not be key at once, like maybe 1,000 people dying at once, but what's happening? Gradually, the number is increasing and it's increasing and increasing. Do you understand? So that's what it is. So, necessity. Military operations must be necessary to achieve a legitimate military goal. Unnecessary suffering of or destruction is to be avoided. So you don't just go and begin to just kill and destroy people, destroy properties simply because you have the means to do so. No, it's against international law. You only carry out such operation as a matter of necessity. And then you see, and this is the reason why it's becoming so difficult to prosecute Israel, because sometimes they exercise some level of restraint, just looking for best excuses, best opportunity that they can hold on to carry out whatever they want to carry out. When Hezbollahs were disturbing, they were just keeping quiet and watching them, and just looking for good reasons and making noise, sufficient noise about it, so that by the time they start doing whatever they want to do, people you know, will find it difficult to to blame and also to balance the situation. Do you understand? And when they got the opportunity, you see what's happening in Lebanon now. Massive destruction is going on there. Massive destruction. Why? Have been here. Do you understand? So because they have gotten a reason why they have to start. Do you understand? And key figures of in the Hezbollah has been eliminated. So you can see the situation. So humanity. This principle underlines the need to protect human dignity. So it's humanity first. Against all odds, humanity first. So it emphasizes the humane treatment of all individuals, regardless of their status in the conflict. So please don't just go and kill. Respect humanity because you are not to take any human life. But if peradventure you are to take, then it should be a matter of necessity, which is the principle we have talked about, right? So we'll talk about some principles of international law which we have discussed here. And what are those principles that we have discussed so far? Maybe you can help me to summarize if you were following me. What are the principles of international law we have discussed so far? Talk about distinction, right? Talk about proportionality. Talk about necessity. And we'll talk about humanity. So humanity should proceed, and supersede every other plan, every other agenda. Just put it that this is your fellow human. So you should consider whatever you are doing, whatever grievances you have, no matter how the war is going, please, the place of humanity should be in place. So, what are the sources of international humanitarian law? Let's look at the sources of what international humanitarian law. We have treaties. Treaties. The four Geneva Conventions of 1949 and their additional protocols 1977 and 2005 are the foundational treaties of international humanitarian law. They outline the treatment of the wounded and sick, shipwrecked individuals, prisoners of war, and civilians in times of war. So, so in times of war, people who are wounded will have the opportunity to be treated. People who are wounded and injured during war should be what treated. All right, prisoners who are sick should be treated. You understand? Individual who suffer shipwreck should be what treated. Because maybe you are in a place whereby you have to travel by ship and eventually in the course of maybe moving a ship, you suffer shipwreck. There's a provision that you should be treated. You should be given medical care. So that is number one source of international law, treaties. Number two is the customary international law. Customary international laws, many rules of international law are also considered customary law, which means they are derived from consistent state practices and are accepted as legally binding, even if not codified in treaties. So, whatever that is happening in a state and the people there practice it and the people there use it, it becomes, a customary law and it is applicable. Judicial decisions and scholarly writings So decision from international tribunals, the International Criminal Court, and ad hoc tribunals, and writing by legal scholars contribute to interpretation and development of international human rights. So legal precedents, do you understand? And what we're talking about there, past judgment and constitute, you know, judicial decisions, all right? So all of those things are there. So the sources of internet, this may not be holistic. You understand? This may not be holistic. You can still do go more to look. I'm just giving you a guide, so you can go deep into it and research and get more information. Yesterday we spoke about um, the Israeli conflict. So someone was sending me something today. They went to dig deep into the conflict. Maybe what I said yesterday, incited him, and then he decided to do some kind of research. And so he was sharing some things with me in the afternoon. Although I have not taken my time to open it, but I saw it's about the conflict. Do you understand? So you also can try to go deep and get more information on this and have more understanding. Do you understand? That's why it is. So key provisions of the Geneva Conventions. What are the key provisions of the Geneva Conventions? First, Geneva Conventions protects wounded and sick soldiers on land. So the convention seek the protection of sick soldiers, of wounded soldiers on land, on land. The second Geneva Convention seeks to protect wounded, sick, and shipwrecked military personnel at sea. So those that are, you know, using, maybe let's say the Navy officers. Do you understand? Who, suffer any shipwreck or any sea, disaster, they should be protected. The third Geneva Conventions governs the treatment of prisoners of war. So even if you capture prisoners of war and taking captive of people and they are sick, you are to treat them. They should not die in your custody. They should not die in your prison. You are you are required by international law to do what? To give them treatment. To give them treatment. Do you understand? So that is what the international law provided. So you are to by all means provide treatment for these people, right? So the fourth Geneva Convention, seek to protect civilians during wartime, especially in occupied territories like in Gaza. Territories. So you have to protect civilians by all means, protect them. Most especially where you capture some certain territories. Do you understand? Where you capture some territories, you need to protect them. Do you understand? So if you are not share this meeting with someone, invite them also to take part in this training. Let them know that this training is going for free and they are paying nothing. Or have you paid for something to get your certificate? Did we request some money for you from you to 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 pay? You know. So even yesterday, the person from Uganda that came to our office, he called us and we told him that if you want the hard copy of the certificate, you pay for it too, because people are downloading theirs online. So if you want the hard copy of the certificate, you pay for it, because the paper we use to print the certificate is not so common. You understand? So we ask that if you want to use it, you want us to print it hard copy for you, you are going to pay for it. So eventually, when he came, and after we issued him certificate, he was saying that we were talking about payment. We say no, don't worry, we're pulling your legs. Do you understand? We're just pulling your legs. So And then that is how it went. Do you understand? So actually, but of the truth, I never realized that his wife is somebody who is a member of the institute already. It was just yesterday that I made to be known that his wife is a member of the institute. Although I know the wife, I know the woman, I know her contribution, I know her participation. She's always contributing to even our convention that is coming up now. She sends support. Do you understand? Apart from the fact that she pay a convention fee that she's not going to even be around, she still gives some kind of support. So I was made to understand that that is his wife. So do you understand? So and most of our activities he used to join with the wife. Sometimes even some of the meetings we have used to join with the wife and all of that. The wife is even part of our academic program that is on hold for now. Do you understand? Because of certain constraints. And so we could not just be demanding money from such person when the wife is contributing a lot. Do you understand that kind of thing? Apart from the fact that it's free, those are the revelation I got to know yesterday. Do you understand? When we come like discussing, we get to when I was asking questions, I get to know a lot of things. And it was then I knew that he even married from Nigeria and we were talking about paying bride price to us. Do you understand? And all of that. So it's free. So invite someone, let them know that it's free. It's free indeed. So you are giving freely, you also share freely. Let them come in and participate. So that is it. So let's look at some additional protocols in international law. So additional protocols. Protocols one. Protocol one relates to the protection of victims of international armed conflict, enhancing protection for civilians and combatants. So in this case now, it's required that even though maybe this person may be a combatant, right? He may be a fighter, or he may be a civilian, but because he is a victim of whatever circumstances, maybe a victim of a bullet, a victim of anything, he should be what protected. So it means that, for instance, now maybe someone who is running from war in a particular place enters into your region, maybe um, for instance, wounded or not, maybe he come in as a refugee, he should be what protected. Because when we're talking about refugees, these are people who flee from conflict to another country. You understand? And those they should be protected. Don't push them away. Don't kill them. Don't maltreat them. Do you understand? Accommodate them. Give them a space. Do you understand? Let them stay. Right? That's what happens. Do you understand? And you understand that IDP is internally displaced persons, right? So that one is something within. But when it comes to refugees, those are cross borders to other countries. They become what? Refugees. All right. So protocol 2 say addresses the protection of victims of non-international. That is, this one now is internal and conflict, establishing minimum standards for human treatment. So now, the conflict may not be an international conflict, it may be even internal conflict, but these people must be protected. Protocol 3 seeks to, take concerns on the adoption of an international distinctive emblem, that is the red crystal, alongside the red cross and red crescent. So when you see these signs, when you see these symbols, you are not to attack, you are to protect them, right? When you see, that's why the red cross, they can go anywhere, even so far as the war is concerned. They can go anywhere, they can enter anywhere, they can access anywhere because they are a neutral body just seek for the protection of civilians and those wounded in war. They treat them, they handle them, give them protection. Do you understand? That's what it means. So implementation and enforcement. So national implementation, states are required to incorporate international humanitarian laws into their domestic legal systems and ensure that their armed forces are trained in its principles. You understand? So international mechanism, the International Committee of the Red Cross plays a crucial role in promoting and monitoring compliance with international humanitarian law. So it's expected that whatever report this people give, it should be considered seriously. So states can also be held accountable through what international courts and tribunals. So there are challenges, but we'll talk about the challenges later. All right. So let's look at the uh, human rights law. Let's look at human rights law. The human rights law is a body of international law designed to protect the fundamental rights and freedoms of individuals. The human rights law is a body of international law designed to protect the fundamental rights and freedoms of individuals. So the international human rights law, they seek to protect our freedom of association, freedom of speech, freedom of movement. Do you understand? They seek to protect. That's why somebody can stand here and be moving. If you want to go and cross to Europe, do you understand? All those freedom of movement you can go. Although sometimes they are being tracked and sent back. Go back to your country. Where are you going? Do you understand? Sometimes they find their way out into the sea. Some drown there, some manage to cross, some after crossing, like you kept in Italy or in Spain or anywhere. You understand? So some are in Turkey. You understand? So all of that. So what are the core principles of international human rights law? What are the core principles? The core principles of international human rights law, number one, is universality. That is, it's applicable anywhere. Do you understand? Human rights law are applied universally. They apply everywhere without distinction. Do you understand? So the right to live is for everybody. So it doesn't matter your color, it doesn't matter your tribe, it doesn't matter your race. Do you understand? You are to enjoy the universality of the international human rights law, those that have been regarded as the fundamental rights of the people. Do you understand? So, indivisibility. So, all rights are equally important and cannot be prioritized over one another. Do you understand? So, no law is small. Every law is as big as any other part of the law. Do you understand? It doesn't matter where they are being considered. Whether they are considered in Nigeria, they are considered in UK, they are considered in America. Law is what? Law. Do you understand? So basically when they concerns the rights of the people. So it's like that. So interdependence, interdependence. So the realization of one right often depends on the realization of others. So these rights are equally interdependent. You understand? So whatever is obtainable here is obtainable there. All right. Freedom of association, I have it. And that's I'm in Nigeria, I have a freedom of association, you have a freedom of association in UK. You have in Uganda, you have in Tanzania, you have in South Sudan, you have in Kenya, Lesotho, Zimbabwe, Malawi, Ghana. because I know I have Ghanaians here. I have all of these countries I've mentioned, Ethiopia, Cameroon, all of them are here. You understand? So non-discrimination. Everyone is entitled to rights without discrimination of any kind, whether you're black, white, red. No discrimination. Whether you are disabled, able, no discrimination. Right is right. So core principles of human rights law: universality, indivisibility, interdependence, non-discrimination. Let's look at key instruments of human rights law. What are the key instruments of human rights law? Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948. So this provided a foundational document outlining fundamental human rights such as the rights to life, liberty, and security, freedom of expression, and the right to a fair trial. In case there's a need for you to be tried, you have the right to be tried fairly. Do you understand? Giving you fair hearing, giving you opportunity to defend yourself, giving you opportunity to hire an attorney, and all of that. Do you understand? So all of these rights you have them. So we are going to do next year. We're going to run a course on human rights education. You understand? Human rights what education, and then I think you will get to know more human rights education. You know your rights more and what you need to do when your rights are in jeopardy or when your rights are being abused. You understand? You know what to do. Are we together? So what are those key instruments of human rights law? We talk about the Universal Declaration. So that Universal Declaration give us the opportunity to be protected globally. Do you understand? So all the human rights law of every country is copied from this declaration. Do you understand? Whatever we have at the national levels as the human rights law are derived from this declaration. Do you understand? Because all the member states of the United Nations adopted this declaration, and that's what they have domesticated in their own countries. Do you understand? So international covenants on civil and political rights. Ambassador Harima, I hope I'm saying the right thing because you are a legal practitioner. So if I'm lying, you let me know that this guy you are lying. Ambassador Harima, I hope you are there. So you let me know if I'm lying. You are the one that studied law. Me, I studied public administration. I also studied the development studies. Do you understand? So these are the issues. So, and I'm also studying, you know, peace and conflict management at advanced level. Do you understand? So all those ones. So international covenants on civil and political rights, ICCPR 1966. So protects this one seeks to protect rights such as freedom of speech, assembly, freedom from torture, and the right to a fair trial. So you don't carry somebody simply because you are torturing somebody, you torture somebody, you torture some here. Sometimes they torture you to even confess the crime you have not committed. So for the fear of your life, you just say, I don't know, but I will confess. Then you confess what you don't know. Sincerely, sometimes you don't know, but you confess. I was in a situation like that before. You understand? They make you to confess what you don't know. But because of what? Torture. Regional instruments such as the European Convention on Human Rights and the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, which provide additional protection and mechanism for enforcement. So we come at the regional level, we strengthen some of the things, we add some certain things to suit our own environment. Do you understand? So other regions also add some certain things to suit their own environment. Whatever has been domesticated nationally also has other elements being added to just make it strong. Do you understand? And also to suit our way of life. So, but the originality of the applicability of those provisions are there. So, application in conflict scenarios. How do you apply international human rights law in a conflict scenario where there is conflict ongoing? How do you apply it? Continued what applicability? Human rights law remains applicable during and conflict. So we don't feel that now is in time of war, you can do anything you want. No, we will hold you accountable once we are able to get the details, once we are able to get statistics of your involvement and your dealings, you'll be convicted. Do you understand? Complementing international humanitarian law. Why? International humanitarian law governs the conduct of hostilities. Human rights law continues to protect individuals, right? Continue to protect individuals. By all means, civilian and other combatants should be what? Protected. Do you understand? So protection of civilians is another issue. So human rights law protects civilians from violence, torture, and inhumane what treatment. It mandates the state to ensure the right to life and prohibits arbitrary killings even in conflict. Even in conflict. So that's why you see the usual armed groups where they will carry somebody and cut their head. All of this is it's a war crime. Accountability for violations. So violations of human rights law during conflict can lead to accountability mechanism, all right, including international criminal prosecutions for war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. Humanitarian access. So human rights law supports the right to humanitarian assistance. So people who are suffering in war should receive assistance. They should receive what relief materials. And that's why when Israel now ban war, there's a United Nations. So it makes life so difficult for people. Some of them are dying of malnutrition, while the bullet is taking many people. Hunger is killing more than the bullet. Because some of these provisions are not there. Some of these aids are not available. So guys are dying, children are dying, old people are dying. The young are becoming so frail because of what? Lack of nutritious food. So humanitarian access is very important. So people should access humanitarian aid to support their recovery. So what are the challenges? Let's look at the challenges in application of all of this. State sovereignty versus what? Intervention. So the rise of non-state armed groups complicate the enforcement of human rights protection, as these groups may not adhere to international law. That's why the Hamas woke up one day and fired missile, boom, kill 1,000 plus people. And now you see what is going on there. So now when you say atrocity has been committed, this will tell you we are doing what we are doing is self defense. We are only defending ourselves. They started it. So we are showing them what we need. You understand? Non-state actors. The rise of non-state armed groups complicate the enforcement of human rights protection, as this group may also not adhere to some of those things. So security concerns is also another challenge. Governments may restrict civil liberties in the name of national security during conflict. Do you understand? So claiming exceptions that can lead to human rights abuses. So we are under attack as a nation, and of course we will not tolerate such. So we will not tolerate them. So before you know it, they begin to abuse people. When Boko Haram activities was so high in Maiduguri, if you are traveling to Maiduguri, they will sometimes you end up also being soft, you regret why you even embark on the journey. Sometimes you have to drop and trek distance. Sometimes you maybe by your look, God help you, you are carrying dada. But God help you where they see you with strange things around you. You are in trouble. You suffer. Documentation and evidence gathering. So in war, it's very difficult to document some of these issues because documentation may be there, but the mentality of we are only defending ourselves is also a challenge. You understand? So international mechanism, international mechanism for what? For enforcement. International, we have international criminal courts, we have international uh, uh, court of justice, we have United Nations Human Rights Council, and then we have regional human rights courts, such as the European Court of Human Rights, which can hear cases of violation within member states. Do you understand? So this is how the international this is what international laws and conflict is all about, and this is what you are expected to do when you are in war, when you are in conflict. Do you understand? When you are in that situation, this is what you are expected to do in times like that. All together now. Any question? Any confusion? So between now till Sunday, we are going to create role playing groups or topics. Already I have created some, so I'll add more and then we'll distribute them. So if you don't have a group, try and so that at the end of the day you will not say that because there are some people that are calling me now requesting for link serial number to download their ADR certificate. I asked them to reach out their group leaders, and they said they don't have a group, that he did not join a group. I say, if you did not join a group, you cannot get a certificate, because that training, one of the requirements for you to get the certificate was for you to participate in simulation training. So if you did not participate in that training, even if you wrote the exams, we are not going to give the CR number to get your certificate. Do you understand? So because the presentation we're going on, you're supposed to ask question, why, what is going on here? We're doing it even online. So you don't ask question, you keep quiet, and your friend send you a link. You wrote the exams, and now you are claiming that your friend did not tell you full thing. So I say I will not give the CR number. Do you understand? We will not. So what we expect him to do now is to wait and register or join the training next time and participate in simulation training and get his certificate. I'm saying the same thing here now, because maybe you are not listening to me. Try and get a group. If you don't have a group, try and get a group. Because at the end of the day, the link for the examination we are sending to group leaders. Group leader will send it to their group members. So if you're not in a group, try and get a group. You understand? So that you can participate. All right. And if your group is not up to 20, all right, if your group is not up to 20, you can send us the link. Let's add more people in your group. Do you understand? Let's have at least 15 to 20 people in your group. All right. Uh-huh. So when a topic is created, let all of them join. Let them all of them participate. You can see we have only 45 people here online here again. And we have over 800 and something people in our WhatsApp group even. So it's not correct. So group leaders, you should take note of this. You understand? So let's know those that are participating truly. It's not people that will come and hang around to get certificate and go, no, we will not give you. So group leaders, take notice of those that are participating, fully. And of course, if your group is not up to 20, send us the link so that we will post it in the group. Somebody's asking a question, please, sir, is this human rights applicable in Nigeria, Africa? If yes, why is it that Mazinari Kano rights was not observed when he visited Kenya? Well, they're applicable in Nigeria, they're applicable in Africa. Understand that Nigeria is a member of the African Union. You understand? Which is a regional organization under which Nigeria, under which Kenya is also a member. And so, if Maz Nnamdi Kanu was in Kenya, it's possible that he can be arrested and expatriated to Nigeria, because he was in a member state where, if Nigeria is not a member of African Union, it would have been impossible for Nigeria to arrest him. Do you understand? But Nigeria being a member of the African Union, he can be arrested if Nigeria consider him to be a threat to national peace or even the regional peace. Do you understand? So it's possible that he can be arrested. Do you understand? So it's possible that he can be arrested in any of the uh, any of the any of the member states at the United Nations, so far as Nigeria has sufficient reasons why he should be arrested. Nigeria can contract Interpol, as international police, whatever, to arrest him anywhere. The other side he can be arrested. So that is just it. So once they consider him as a national, all those issues are there. That's why even even Putin, if you remember, there was a case over Putin that he should be arrested. Once, if he visited South Africa, he should be arrested. Why? Because South Africa is a member of the. So you can see. So such issues are possible. So someone can be arrested and extradited to any country. Do you understand? So it's possible. Any question? So the manual will be out soon. Okay, the manual will be out soon. You say, but the Kenyan authorities say they were not aware of his arrest. It is possible, it may not be possible. But so far as he was in a member state where he can be arrested, he can be arrested. Whether Kenya is aware or not, it's the job of the Interpol. They can arrest him anytime, anywhere. Anywhere is convenient. How can you tell me that they arrested somebody in Kenya, extradited, and then Kenya government will say that they are not aware? It's not possible. It's a lie. It's a total lie. They were aware. No, government always lie to escape, just to escape backlash and all of that. But it's possible. So, Prof is saying that during the civil war in Nigeria, Mutua Muhammad and Major Taiwo committed genocide in Asaba. Nothing happened to them. It's possible because during the military rule, they were so reckless. Do you understand? They were so reckless and they were not respecting people's right and all of that. So it's there for the people that were involved to take the matter to the International Court of Justice or International Criminal Court to seek justice. I told you that during the crisis between Taraba, that's between maybe Chukum and Tivo, so that was happening, and the Nigerian military sent their personnel, and then it was alleged that the military people were ambushed and killed by maybe the T people, so the case me so to say. Do you understand? And then what happened? The military people went to Sakibia, gather people, they call people round to come as if they want to have a town meeting with them, and then started firing at people and killing them. Do you understand? They kill a lot of people. And then what happened? They take this thing and then file a matter at the International Court of Justice. And I think justice was done. They were awarded, I think they gave them, compensated them with a sum of 5 billion or so to say. So it's possible if somebody did not take it up, it will go because one, it was under military regime, so anything can happen. You understand? So it's possible it can go. So if nobody take it up, assuming there were people that will take it up and then seek for redress and seek for help anywhere in the world, it's possible that something could have been done. But if you keep quiet, you just watch and criticize and condemn and take no action, nothing will happen. Do you understand? So that's why that's how it is. So thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow by 7 p.m.